Good morning, Scrapper on the Street fans. I am going to play around with my new paper doll obsession and show you how I stamp them and how I've been coloring them in. I'm no expert by any means at this. I'm still getting the hang of it myself, but I am very excited about these paper dolls, about playing with them, about adding them to layouts, and just making a lot of cute embellishments customized to whatever the page is or whatever's going on. So I ordered a bunch of these paper dolls. They're Julie Nutting for Prima, and I just adore them. My mom turned me on to these. And then I ordered a big block, but it wasn't big enough, but it came in a set with smaller blocks, so I just kind of combined them together and slapped my girl on top of there, and it's not ideal, but it's definitely workable. I then use a good black ink. You cannot use the Distress inks. They bleed. They're made to bleed, so they won't work for coloring in with watercolor pencils, which is what I'm also going to use. I either use the Memento or the VersaFine. Both work really well, and they're easy to use. Now I know traditionally we're supposed to stamp the ink pad, not ink the stamp, but with the size of the paper doll compared to the size of the ink pad, this is the best way I found to get ink on my paper doll, is to just ink her right up and just get a good coverage of our little girl, and then carefully turn her over and stamp. Make sure you press down really well, and then lift up, and voila, we have our little stamped image, and she looks fantastic. I'm also using Prima paper. It's like their flesh tone paper pack, and it's got a bunch of different flesh tone colors in it. It's called the Buff paper pack. There it is. There you go. And I've had a lot of fun using these papers as well. And it doesn't bleed through when you use your watercolor pencils. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see me color. I have 2 sets of watercolor pencils, also by Prima. And they are so simple to use that even I can do it, and I was not the best colorer in kindergarten. I use a scrap piece of paper. You can see I've used this before. And what you do, you'll need a watercolor brush pen that you fill with water, and then it's got a fine tip brush on there for you. And then you just squeeze it to get some of the water out. So there's that, and I'm going to pick a color for her dress. And we could start doing a little coloring. And then what I do is I find an empty sheet of the empty spot on this scrap paper, and then just color. Nothing fancy, just color. Good even coverage. And then you take your watercolor pen, brush, squeeze a little to get some water out. I use my hand to just make sure it's not too wet. Then you run it through here. Get a good coverage on your brush, and then take it to your girl and start coloring in. Very simple, very fun, and very fast. You just dip as you see fit. For better coverage, for darker color. Once this dries, you could even go over it again to get a little more oomph. The other way you can do it, and I'll play around with the skirt, is you can color right on this image, and you don't have to cover the whole thing, but you will get a darker color from coloring right on the image. And I'm just gonna color in certain spots and get some pencil on there, and then you take your pen, your water brush, and then finish coloring through and spread that around. So you'll get the darker spots where you apply the pencil to add like shadowing, or or just a little variation, nice interest. And then she's all her dress is colored. Simple, easy. Then you pick colors for her shoes, her bow, her whatever your little girl looks like. Once I'm done coloring her and I let her dry, I will cut her out and I could use her on a page. Very fast, very simple. I like to both color on the scrap piece of paper and on the doll itself. I tend to, for things like hair, color on the doll herself because you get just better coverage that way. I'm just going to make her a little dark-haired doll. And just fill that in. Now the other thing you can do, and I'll show you in a different video or different pages, is that you can, instead of coloring the image in, you could stamp her elsewhere on a pattern paper you really like, then cut out just the skirt and attach it, and you can make a little, it's a little more dimensional, it's a little more fun, and then you can really tailor it to whatever page you're using. Right now I'm really into coloring the girls in, but I have made skirts for the girls. I did that for my mom's pocket letter. I made her a coffee cup skirt, and it's fun to really customize what you want your girls to look like. And I've only used them on one page so far, and my pocket letters, but I have a bunch of them stamped and cut out. I have 2 more girls here that I've stamped and that they will be used for pages. I have a line of girls that are colored very red, white, and blue to use for 4th of July pages. And stay tuned because I'm going to show you all of these pages and all of these projects as we get rolling. So I hope you found this useful. I hope it helps. And I will see you all real soon. Thanks, everybody.